The marketing strategy that built multi-billion-dollar companies like Airbnb and Dropbox had almost nothing to do with traditional marketing. What if you could acquire your first million customers without spending a single dollar on advertising? What if your best marketing channel wasn't Google or Facebook, but your product itself? Some of the fastest-growing companies in history were not built by marketing executives with massive budgets. Point 1. They were built by a new breed of operator. Part marketer, part engineer, part data scientist, a figure known only as the growth hacker. Point 2. For generations, the marketing playbook was simple. If you wanted to grow, you had to spend money. You bought TV commercials, radio spots, and billboards. You hired large advertising agencies and even larger sales teams. It was a game of outspending your competition to capture attention. But what happens when you're a startup with no money, no brand, and no resources? You can't afford to play the old game. So, you have to change the rules. This is the world of growth hacking. It's a mindset, born out of the constraints of Silicon Valley, that is obsessively focused on one thing and one thing only: growth. Fast, scalable, and sustainable growth, achieved by any means necessary. So what exactly is this mysterious discipline? Is it a collection of secret tricks and loopholes, or is it a rigorous, data-driven system? How does it blend psychology, technology, and engineering to create explosive, viral growth? And what are the legendary hacks that built some of the world's most iconic companies? That's the question we're answering today. To understand growth hacking, we have to go back to 1996. The internet was still in its infancy, and the idea of a free, web-based email service was revolutionary. Point 32 Founders, Sabir Bhatia and Jack Smith, launched one of the very first, Hotmail. They had a world-changing product. But they had a classic startup problem: no money for marketing. Traditional advertising was out of the question. Buying a billboard to advertise a website was like trying to teach a fish to ride a bicycle. It was expensive and made no sense. So, how could they get the word out? During a tense meeting, their investor, Tim Draper, suggested an idea. Every time a user sends an email, they are communicating with a potential new user. What if the email itself could be the advertisement? The founders implemented a simple, elegant change. At the bottom of every single email sent from a Hotmail account, they automatically added one simple line of text: P.S. I love you. Get your free email at Hotmail. This tiny addition changed the course of internet history. It was the first growth hack. This signature turned every user into a free, active, and implicit salesperson. Every email they sent became a personal recommendation for the service, delivered directly to a trusted contact. Growth wasn't just linear, it was viral. The more users they got, the more emails were sent. The more emails were sent, the faster they acquired new users. Hotmail signed up its first million users in just 6 months. Only 5 weeks later, it had 2 million. A year and a half after launch, Microsoft acquired the company for $400 million. This was the birth of a new kind of marketing, one where the product itself is the primary channel for growth. Hotmail's signature was a brilliant one-off idea. But modern growth hacking isn't about waiting for a single lightning strike of inspiration. It's a disciplined, repeatable process. The term growth hacker was coined in 2010 by Sean Ellis, an early marketing leader at companies like Dropbox and Eventbrite. Point 4 He defined a growth hacker as someone whose true north is growth. Point 5 Their job is to run a series of experiments to find scalable ways to grow the business. This process is essentially the scientific method applied to marketing. Step 1. Analyze. A growth hacker uses data to analyze the entire customer journey, often using a framework called AARRR: acquisition, activation, retention, referral, and revenue. Point 6 They identify the single biggest bottleneck or area of opportunity. Point 7 For example, why are so many users signing up but not sending their first message? Step 2. Ideate. The team brainstorms a long list of potential experiments, or hacks, to improve that one specific metric. The ideas can be anything: change the color of the sign-up button, rewrite the welcome email, or build an entirely new product feature. Step 3. Prioritize. You can't test every idea. The team scores each one using a framework like ICE. Impact, how big will the effect be if it works? Confidence, how likely do we think it is to work? And ease, how quickly can we build and test it? Step 4. Test. They run the highest scoring experiment, typically as an A/B test, showing the old version to one group of users and the new version to another. Step 5. Learn and repeat. They analyze the results. Did the new version win? Why or why not? The learnings from failed experiments are often the most valuable. They take what they've learned and start the cycle all over again. This high-tempo process of constant experimentation is the engine of growth hacking. Point 8. It's not about one big bet. It's about hundreds of small, data-informed tests that compound over time. This scientific process has produced some of the most famous growth stories in tech history. Case Study 1. Dropbox and the two-sided referral. In its early days, Dropbox was paying for Google Ads to acquire customers. The problem? They were spending up to $388 to acquire a single user for a product that only cost $99 a year. The math was a death sentence. The growth team killed their ad spend and instead built a referral program directly into the product's onboarding. The offer was a masterclass in psychological incentives: get more free space. If you invited a friend to Dropbox, and that friend signed up, you would both get an extra 500 megabytes of storage. 9. This two-sided incentive was brilliant. It turned users into evangelists. They weren't just helping the company, they were helping themselves and their friends. The program permanently increased sign-ups by 60% and was a primary driver of their growth to hundreds of millions of users. Case Study 2. Airbnb and the Craigslist Heist. In 2010, Airbnb was a struggling startup. 10. They had a chicken and egg problem. They couldn't get travelers without properties, and they couldn't get property owners to list without travelers. They needed to get their beautiful listings in front of a massive audience. Where was that audience? On Craigslist. The growth team engineered a technically complex and legally questionable solution. They built a bot that allowed Airbnb hosts, with a single click, to cross-post their listing to Craigslist. 11. This was genius. It took Airbnb's beautiful photos and well-written descriptions and injected them into the ugly, text-based ecosystem of Craigslist, complete with a link back to the superior Airbnb platform. 12. It was a parasite feeding on a giant host. It siphoned millions of highly qualified users from the biggest marketplace on the internet directly to Airbnb's front door, for free, kickstarting their growth flywheel. Let's connect the dots. Growth hacking was born out of the constraints of a startup with no money. Hotmail used its own product as an advertising channel because it had no other choice. This mindset then evolved from a collection of clever tricks into a disciplined, scientific process of rapid experimentation across the entire customer journey. 13. This process, in turn, produced legendary growth strategies like the Dropbox referral engine and the Airbnb Craigslist integration, which were not traditional marketing campaigns, but deeply integrated product features. 14. And that is the secret. Growth hacking fundamentally erases the line that traditionally separated the marketing department from the product and engineering teams. A traditional marketer asks, how can we spend money to market our product? A growth hacker asks, how can we build marketing directly into our product? The product itself becomes the primary channel for growth. The viral referral loop, the seamless onboarding flow, the clever integration, these are the new billboards, the new TV ads. Growth is no longer a department. It is the core function of the entire company. If these strategies are helping you unlock new ideas, you can help us grow by hitting that like button and subscribing. It's our favorite kind of hack. The brilliance of the growth hacking mindset is that it gives startups a new way to compete. It's the asymmetric warfare of business. It allows a small, agile team to outmaneuver a large, slow-moving incumbent by replacing massive budgets with creativity, data, and, most importantly, speed. 15. The broader business principle here is a masterclass in applying the scientific method to business problems. For generations, marketing was treated as an art, driven by the gut feelings and bold bets of creative directors. Growth hacking reframes it as a science. It is a process of forming a clear hypothesis, running a controlled experiment, and dispassionately analyzing the results. 16. The powerful lesson is that in the digital age, you no longer have to guess what your customers want or how they will behave. You can test, learn, and iterate your way to explosive growth, one small experiment at a time. If you learn something new, hit the like button and subscribe for more strategy breakdowns. And let us know in the comments, what company's strategy should we unlock next?